The Odyssey of Homer. Book 2. Telemachus complains in vain, and borrowing a ship, goes secretly to Pylos by night. And how he was there received. Now so soon as early dawn shone forth, the rosy-fingered, the dear son of Odysseus gat him up from his bed, and put on his raiment and cast his sharp sword about his shoulder, and beneath his smooth feet he bound his goodly sandals, and stepped forth from his chamber in presence like a god. And straightway he bade the clear-voiced heralds to call the long-haired Achaeans to the assembly. And the heralds called the gathering, and the Achaeans were assembled quickly. Now when they were gathered and come together, he went on his way to the assembly holding in his hand a spear of bronze. Not alone he went, for 2 swift hounds bare him company. Then Athene shed on him a wondrous grace, and all the people marveled at him as he came. And he sat him in his father's seat, and the elders gave place to him. Then the lord Aegyptus spake among them first, bowed was he with age, and skilled in things past number. Now for this reason he spake that his dear son, the warrior Antiphus, had gone in the hollow ships to Ilios of the goodly steeds, but the savage Cyclops slew him in his hollow cave, and made of him then his latest meal. 3 other sons Aegyptus had, and one consorted with the wooers, namely Eurynomus, but 2 continued in their father's fields, yet even so forgat he not that son, still mourning and sorrowing. So weeping for his sake he made harangue and spake among them. Hearken now to me, ye men of Ithaca, to the word that I shall say. Never hath our assembly or session been since the day that goodly Odysseus departed in the hollow ships. And now who was minded thus to assemble us? On what man hath such sore need come, of the young men or of the elder born? Hath he heard some tidings of the host now returning, which he might plainly declare to us, for that he first learned thereof, or doth he show forth and tell some other matter of the common weal? Methinks he is a true man, good luck be with him. Zeus vouchsafe him some good thing in his turn, even all his heart's desire. So spake he, and the dear son of Odysseus was glad at the omen of the word, nor sat he now much longer, but he burned to speak, and he stood in mid-assembly, and the herald Paesenor, skilled in sage counsels, placed the staff in his hands. Then he spake, accosting the old man first. Old man, he is not far off, and soon shalt thou know it for thyself, he who called the folk together, even I, for sorrow hath come to me in chief. Neither have I heard any tidings of the host now returning, which I may plainly declare to you, for that I first learned thereof, neither do I show forth or tell any other matter of the common weal, but mine own need, for that evil hath befallen my house, double woe. First, I have lost my noble sire, who sometime was king among you here, and was gentle as a father, and now is there an evil yet greater far, which surely shall soon make grievous havoc of my whole house and ruin all my livelihood. My mother did certain wars beset sore against her will, even the sons of those men that here are the noblest. They are too craven to go to the house of her father Icarius, that he may himself set the bride price for his daughter, and bestow her on whom he will, even on him who finds favor in his sight. But they resorting to our house day by day sacrifice oxen, and sheep and fat goats, and keep revel, and drink the dark wine recklessly. And lo, our great wealth is wasted, for there is no man now alive such as Odysseus was, to keep ruin from the house. As for me, I am nowise strong like him to ward mine own, verily to the end of my days shall I be a weakling and all unskilled in prowess. Truly I would defend me if but strength were mine, for deeds past sufferance have now been wrought, and now my house is wasted utterly beyond pretense of right. Resent it in your own hearts, and have regard to your neighbors who dwell around, and tremble ye at the anger of the gods, lest haply they turn upon you in wrath at your evil deeds. I pray you by Olympian Zeus and by the Mys, who looseth and gathereth the meetings of men, let be, my friends, and leave me alone to waste in bitter grief, unless it so be that my father, the good Odysseus, out of evil heart wrought harm to the goodly grieved Achaeans, in quittance whereof ye now work me harm out of evil hearts, and spur on these men. Better for me that ye yourselves should eat up my treasures and my flocks. Were ye so to devour them, ere long would some recompense be made, for we would urge our plea throughout the town, begging back our substance, until all should be restored. But now without remedy are the pains that ye lay up in my heart. So spake he in wrath, and dashed the staff to the ground, and brake forth in tears, and pity fell on all the people. Then all the others held their peace, and none had the heart to answer Telemachus with hard words, but Antinous alone made answer, saying, Telemachus, proud of speech and unrestrained in fury, what is this thou hast said to put us to shame, and wouldest fasten on us reproach? Behold, the fault is not in the Achaean wars, but in thine own mother, for she is the craftiest of women. For it is now the 3rd year, and the 4th is fast going by, since she began to deceive the minds of the Achaeans in their breasts. She gives hope to all, and makes promises to every man, and sends them messages, but her mind is set on other things. And she hath devised in her heart this while besides, she set up in her halls a mighty web, fine of woof and very wide, whereat she would weave, and anon she spake among us. Ye princely youths, my wooers, now that the goodly Odysseus is dead, do ye abide patiently, how eager soever to speed on this marriage of mine, till I finish the robe. I would not that the threads perish to no avail, even this shroud for the hero lets, against the day when the ruinous doom shall bring him low, of death that lays men at their length. So shall none of the Achaean women in the land count it blame in me, as well might be, were he to lie without a winding sheet, a man that had gotten great possessions. So spake she, and our high hearts consented thereto. So then in the daytime she would weave the mighty web, and in the night unravel the same, when she had let place the torches by her. Thus for the space of 3 years she hid the thing by craft and beguiled the minds of the Achaeans. But when the 4th year arrived and the seasons came round, then at the last one of her women who knew all declared it, and we found her unraveling the splendid web. Thus she finished it perforce and sore against her will. But as for thee, the wills make thee answer thus, that thou mayest know it in thine own heart, thou and all the Achaeans. Send away thy mother, and bid her be married to whomsoever her father commands, and whoso is well pleasing unto her. But if she will continue for long to vex the sons of the Achaeans, pondering in her heart those things that Athene hath given her beyond women, knowledge of all fair handiwork, yea, and cunning wit, and wiles, so be it. Such wiles as hers we have never yet heard that any even of the women of old did know, of those that aforetime were fair-tressed Achaean ladies, Tyro, and Alcmene, and Mycene with the bright crown. Not one of these in the imaginations of their hearts was like unto Penelope, yet herein at least her imagining was not good. For in despite of her the wars will devour thy living and thy substance, so long as she is steadfast in such purpose as the gods now put within her breast, great renown for herself she winneth, but for thee regret for thy much livelihood. But we will neither go to our own lands, nor otherwhere, till she marry that man whom she will of the Achaeans. Then wise Telemachus answered him, saying, Antinous, I may in no wise thrust forth from the house, against her will, the woman that bare me, that reared me, while as for my father he is abroad on the earth, whether he be alive or dead. Moreover it is hard for me to make heavy restitution to Icarius, as needs I must, if of mine own will I send my mother away. For I shall have evil at his hand, at the hand of her father, and some god will give me more besides, for my mother will call down the dire avengers as she departs from the house, and I shall have blame of men, surely then I will never speak this word. Nay, if your own heart, even yours, is indignant, quit ye my halls, and busy yourselves with other feasts, eating your own substance, and going in turn from house to house. But if ye deem this a likelier and a better thing, that one man's goods should perish without atonement, then waste ye as ye will, and I will call upon the everlasting gods, if haply Zeus may grant that acts of recompense be made, so should ye hereafter perish in the halls without atonement. So spake Telemachus, and in answer to his prayer did Zeus, of the far-born voice, send forth 2 eagles in flight, from on high, from the mountain crest. Awhile they flew as fleet as the blasts of the wind, side by side, with straining of their pinions. But when they had now reached the mid-assembly, the place of many voices, there they wheeled about and flapped their strong wings, and looked down upon the heads of all, and destruction was in their gaze. Then tore they with their talons each the other's cheeks and neck on every side, and so sped to the right across the dwellings and the city of the people. And the men marveled at the birds when they had sight of them, and pondered in their hearts the things that should come to pass. Yea, and the old man, the Lord Halitherses son of Master, spake among them, for he excelled his peers in knowledge of birds, and in uttering words of fate. With good will he made harangue and spake among them. Hearken to me now, ye men of Ithaca, to the word that I shall say, and mainly to the wars do I show forth and tell these things, seeing that a mighty woe is rolling upon them. For Odysseus shall not long be away from his friends, nay, even now, it may be, he is near, and sowing the seeds of death and fate for these men, every one, and he will be a bane to many another likewise of us who dwell in clear-seen Ithaca. But long ere that falls out let us advise us how we may make an end of their mischief, Yea, let them of their own selves make an end, for this is the better way for them, as will soon be seen. For I prophesy not as one unproved, but with sure knowledge. Verily, I say, that for him all things now are come to pass, even as I told him, what time the Argives embarked for Ilios, and with them went the wise Odysseus. I said that after sore affliction, with the loss of all his company, unknown to all, in the 20th year he should come home. And behold, all these things now have an end. And Eurymachus, son of Polybus, answered him, saying, Go now, old man, get thee home and prophesy to thine own children, lest haply they suffer harm hereafter, but herein am I a far better prophet than thou. Howbeit there be many birds that fly to and fro under the sun's rays, but all are not birds of fate. Now as for Odysseus, he hath perished far away, as would that thou too with him hadst been cut off, so wouldst thou not have babbled thus much prophecy, nor wouldst thou hound on Telemachus that is already angered, expecting a gift for thy house, if perchance he may vouchsafe thee aught. But now will I speak out, and my word shall surely be accomplished. If thou that knowest much lore from of old, shalt beguile with words a younger man, and rouse him to indignation, first it shall be a great grief to him, and yet he can count on no aid from these who hear him, while upon thee, old man, we will lay a fine, that thou mayest pay it and chafe at heart, and sore pain shall be thine. And I myself will give a word of counsel to Telemachus in presence of you all. Let him command his mother to return to her father's house, and her kinsfolk will furnish a wedding feast, and array the gifts of wooing, exceeding many, all that should go back with a daughter dearly beloved. For ere that, I trow, we sons of the Achaeans will not cease from our rough wooing, since, come what may, we fear not any man, no, not Telemachus, full of words though he be, nor soothsaying do we heed, whereof thou, old man, pratest idly, and art hated yet the more. His substance too shall be woefully devoured, nor shall recompense ever be made, so long as she shall put off the Achaeans in the matter of her marriage, while we in expectation, from day to day, vie one with another for the prize of her perfection, nor go we after other women whom it were meet that we should each one Wednesday. Then wise Telemachus answered him saying, Eurymachus, and ye others, that are lordly wooers, I entreat you no more concerning this nor speak thereof, for the gods have knowledge of it now and all the Achaeans. But come, give me a swift ship and 20 men, who shall accomplish for me my voyage to and fro. For I will go to Sparta and to sandy Pylos to inquire concerning the return of my father that is long afar, if perchance any man shall tell me aught, or if I may hear the voice from Zeus, that chiefly brings tidings to men. If I shall hear news of the life and the returning of my father, then verily I may endure the wasting for yet a year, but if I shall hear that he is dead and gone, let me then return to my own dear country, and pile his mound, and over it pay burial rites full many as is due, and I will give my mother to a husband. So with that word he sat him down, then in the midst uprose Mentor, the companion of noble Odysseus. He it was to whom Odysseus, as he departed in the fleet, had given the charge over all his house, that it should obey the old man, and that he should keep all things safe. With good will he now made harangue and spake among them. Hearken to me now, ye men of Ithaca, to the word that I shall say. Henceforth let not any sceptred king be kind and gentle with all his heart, nor minded to do righteously, but let him always be a hard man and work unrighteousness, for behold, there is none that remembereth divine Odysseus of the people whose lord he was, and was gentle as a father. Howsoever, it is not that I grudge the lordly wars their deeds of violence in the evil devices of their heart. For at the hazard of their own heads they violently devour the household of Odysseus, and say of him that he will come no more again. But I am indeed wroth with the rest of the people, to see how ye all sit thus speechless, and do not cry shame upon the wars, and put them down, ye that are so many and they so few. And Leocritus, son of Euenor, answered him, saying, Mentor infatuate, with thy wandering wits, what word hast thou spoken, that cryest upon them to put us down? Nay, it is a hard thing to fight about a feast, and that with men who are even more in number than you. Though Odysseus of Ithaca himself should come and were eager of heart to drive forth from the hall the lordly wars that feast throughout his house, yet should his wife have no joy of his coming, though she yearns for him, but even there should he meet foul doom, if he fought with those that outnumbered him, so thou hast not spoken aright. But as for the people, come now, scatter yourselves each one to his own lands, but Mentor and Halitherses will speed this man's voyage, for they are friends of his house from of old. Yet after all, methinks, that long time he will abide and seek tidings in Ithaca, and never accomplish this voyage. Thus he spake, and in haste they broke up the assembly. So they were scattered each one to his own dwelling, while the wolves departed to the house of divine Odysseus. Then Telemachus, going far apart to the shore of the sea, laid his hands in the grey sea water, and prayed unto Athene, saying, Hear me, thou who yesterday didst come in thy godhead to our house, and badest me go in a ship across the misty seas, to seek tidings of the return of my father that is long gone, but all this my purpose do the Achaeans delay, and mainly the wooers in the naughtiness of their pride. So spake he in prayer, and Athene drew nigh him in the likeness of Mentor, in fashion and in voice, and she spake and hailed him in winged words. Telemachus, even hereafter thou shalt not be craven or witless, if indeed thou wast a drop of thy father's blood and a portion of his spirit, such an one was he to fulfill both word and work. Nor, if this be so, shall thy voyage be vain or unfulfilled. But if thou art not the very seed of him and of Penelope, then have I no hope that thou wilt accomplish thy desire. For few children, truly, are like their father, lo, the more part are worse, yet a few are better than the sire. But since thou shalt not even hereafter be craven or witless, nor hath the wisdom of Odysseus failed thee quite, so is there good hope of thine accomplishing this work. Wherefore now take no heed of the counsel or the purpose of the senseless wars, for they are in no way wise or just, neither know they aught of death and of black fate, which already is close upon them, that they are all to perish in one day. But the voyage on which thy heart is set shall not long be lacking to thee, so faithful a friend of thy father am I, who will furnish thee a swift ship and myself be thy companion. But go thou to the house, and consort with the wooers, and make ready corn, and bestow all in vessels, the wine in jars and barley flour, the marrow of men, in well-sewn skins, and I will lightly gather in the township a crew that offer themselves willingly. There are many ships, new and old, in sea-girt Ithaca, of these I will choose out the best for thee, and we will quickly rig her and launch her on the broad deep. So spake Athene, daughter of Zeus, and Telemachus made no long tarrying, when he had heard the voice of the goddess. He went on his way towards the house, heavy at heart, and there he found the noble wooers in the halls, flaying goats and singeing swine in the court. And Antinous laughed out and went straight to Telemachus, and clasped his hand and spake and hailed him. Telemachus, proud of speech and unrestrained in fury, let no evil word any more be in thy heart, nor evil work, but let me see thee eat and drink as of old. And the Achaeans will make thee ready all things without fail, a ship and chosen oarsmen, that thou mayest come the quicker to fair Pylos, to seek tidings of thy noble father. Then wise Telemachus answered him, saying, Antinous, in no wise in your proud company can I sup in peace, and make merry with a quiet mind. Is it a little thing, ye wooers, that in time past ye wasted many good things of my getting, while as yet I was a child? But now that I am a man grown, and learn the story from the lips of others, and my spirit waxeth within me, I will seek to let loose upon you evil fates, as I may, going either to Pylos for help, or abiding here in this township. Yea, I will go, nor vain shall the voyage be whereof I speak, a passenger on another's ship go I, for I am not to have a ship nor oarsman of mine own, so in your wisdom ye have thought it for the better. He spake and snatched his hand from out the hand of Antinous, lightly, and all the while the wooers were busy feasting through the house, and they mocked him and sharply taunted him, and thus would some proud youth speak. In very truth Telemachus planneth our destruction. He will bring a rescue either from sandy Pylos, or even it may be from Sparta, so terribly is he set on slaying us. Or else he will go to Ephyra, a fruitful land, to fetch a poisonous drug that he may cast it into the bowl and make an end of all of us. And again another proud youth would say, who knows but that he himself if he goes hence on the hollow ship, may perish wandering far from his friends, even as Odysseus. So should we have yet more ado, for then must we divide among us all his substance, and moreover give the house to his mother to possess it, and to him whosoever should wed her. So spake they, but he stepped down into the vaulted treasure chamber of his father, a spacious room, where gold and bronze lay piled, and raiment in coffers, and fragrant olive oil in plenty. And there stood casks of sweet wine and old, full of the unmixed drink divine, all orderly ranged by the wall, ready if ever Odysseus should come home, albeit after travail and much pain. And the close-fitted doors, the folding doors, were shut, and night and day there abode within a dame in charge, who guarded all in the fullness of her wisdom, Eurycleia, daughter of Ops son of Pasenor. Telemachus now called her into the chamber and spake unto her, saying, Mother, come draw off for me sweet wine in jars, the choicest next to that thou keepest mindful ever of that ill-fated one, Odysseus, of the seed of Zeus, if perchance he may come I know not whence, having avoided death and the fates. So fill 12 jars, and close each with his lid, and pour me barley-meal into well-sown skins, and let there be 20 measures of the grain of bruised barley-meal. Let none know this but thyself. As for these things let them all be got together, for in the evening I will take them with me, at the time that my mother hath gone to her upper chamber, and turned her thoughts to sleep. Lo, to Sparta I go, and to sandy Pylos to seek tidings of my dear father's return, if haply I may hear thereof. So spake he, and the good nurse Euryclea wailed aloud, and making lament spake to him winged words, Ah, wherefore, dear child, hath such a thought arisen in thine heart? How shouldst thou fare over wide lands, thou that art an only child and well beloved? As for him he hath perished, Odysseus of the seed of Zeus, far from his own country in the land of strangers. And yonder men, so soon as thou art gone, will devise mischief against thee thereafter, that thou mayest perish by guile, and they will share among them all this wealth of thine. Nay, abide here, settled on thine own lands, thou hast no need upon the deep unharvested to suffer evil and go wandering. Then wise Telemachus answered her, saying, Take heart, nurse, for lo, this my purpose came not but of a god. But swear to tell no word thereof to my dear mother, till at least it shall be the 11th or 12th day from hence, or till she miss me of herself, and hear of my departure, that so she may not mar her fair face with her tears. Thus he spake, and the old woman sware a great oath by the gods not to reveal it. But when she had sworn and done that oath, straightway she drew off the wine for him in jars, and poured barley-meal into well-sown skins, and Telemachus departed to the house and consorted with the wooers. Then the goddess, grey-eyed Athene, turned to other thoughts. In the likeness of Telemachus she went all through the city, and stood by each one of the men and spake her saying, and bade them gather at even by the swift ship. Furthermore, she craved a swift ship of Noman, famous son of Phronius, and right gladly he promised it. Now the sun sank and all the ways were darkened. Then at length she let drag the swift ship to the sea, and stored within it all such tackling as decked ships carry. And she moored it at the far end of the harbour, and the good company was gathered together, and the goddess cheered on all. Then the goddess, grey-eyed Athene, turned to other thoughts. She went on her way to the house of divine Odysseus, and there she shed sweet sleep upon the wooers and made them distraught in their drinking, and cast the cups from their hands. And they arose up to go to rest throughout the city, nor sat they yet a long while, for slumber was falling on their eyelids. Now grey-eyed Athene spake unto Telemachus, and called him from out the fair-lying halls, taking the likeness of Mentor, both in fashion and in voice. Telemachus, thy goodly grieved companions are sitting already at their oars, it is thy dispatch they are awaiting. Nay then, let us go, that we delay them not long from the way. Therewith Pallas Athene led the way quickly, and he followed hard in the steps of the goddess. Now when they had come down to the ship and to the sea, they found the long-haired youths of the company on the shore, and the mighty prince Telemachus spake among them. Come hither, friends, let us carry the corn on board, for all is now together in the room, and my mother knows naught thereof, nor any of the maidens of the house, one woman only heard my saying. Thus he spake and led the way, and they went with him. So they brought all and stowed it in the decked ship, according to the word of the dear son of Odysseus. Then Telemachus climbed the ship, and Athene went before him, and behold, she sat her down in the stern, and near her sat Telemachus. And the men loosed the hawsers and climbed on board themselves and sat down upon the benches. And grey-eyed Athene sent them a favourable gale, a fresh west wind, singing over the wine-dark sea. And Telemachus called unto his company and bade them lay hands on the tackling, and they hearkened to his call. So they raised a mast of pine tree and set it in the hole of the cross-plank, and made it fast with forestays, and hauled up the white sails with twisted ropes of oxide. And the wind filled the belly of the sail, and the dark wave seethed loudly round the stem of the running ship, and she fleeted over the wave, accomplishing her path. Then they made all fast in the swift black ship, and set mixing bowls brimmed with wine, and poured drink offering to the deathless gods that are from everlasting, and in chief to the grey-eyed daughter of Zeus. So all night long and through the dawn the ship cleft her way. Thank you for watching. Please help support our channel by liking this video. We look forward to seeing you again for more of Homer's Odyssey.